One should be getting all of the starts today. So Panker might be riding the bench for the 4 maps today. We're going to see Stand One play, and he played very well when he was subbing in for Envy.
Oh, undoubtedly. That was some amazing play there in Atlantic Showdown in Germany. But will that carry through into Korea's Busan? Tri-Spear also on the side of Square One in for Ultraviolet. And right now, just a little bit more of that classic downtown brawl before that point unlocks. Square One backing up onto the high ground, looking to pressure that point to potentially take it first, as Emil searching for Angelic, trying to find that early first pick since nobody has any ultimates. That'll open things up for his team.
And so Square One finding a nice defensible position on the objective proper, but Gladiators Legion going to go ahead and assert their dominance, and look at how split up Square One was. Remember, when you see this Goats versus Goats matchup, if you see anyone isolated from the team, that person is probably going to be dead in the next 3 to 5 seconds.
If not, they're definitely a liability, and they're going to require resources from their teammates to swoop in, try and keep them safe. Gladiators Legion do cap that point first, and that's such a well-padded ultimate bank. None online just yet, but nearly 5 check marks for the Legion. Square One themselves, they're running a mirror matchup, so we gotta be looking for some kind of opener. No ultimates online, so Tri-Spear's gotta hit a lucky volley, we gotta crack that shield, find that D-Mech, but instead it's gonna be Rolf taken low.
Transcendence coming in very early for Gladiators Legion. Rolf feeling a little bit worried for the rest of his team. They're gonna go ahead and use all of their ultimates because they know that Square One doesn't have any for themselves. As Emil gonna show up with 2 kills on that self-destruct, but Square One gonna have a nice opportunity on their next attack after this Graviton Surge and Rally come online for them.
Yeah, this is actually a massive opportunity. Dove has grab, and Rolf just used Transcendence. So, Gladiators Legion, while they were able to win a very clean early fight, they have to be thinking about what do we have in the bank to try and rebuff Square One in the following fights. 47% ready, and Stand One looking for a charge?
Didn't find it. He's just going to get booped off in instead. So Gladiators Legion going to try to move this fight onto the objective, but Stand One taken so low. Same thing with the water. The supports couldn't split their healing between the two, so one had to fall. And Tri-Spear going to start fragging out. Remember, this guy is from Europe, the only new person on Square One on this starting 6 roster, and he comes in with a bit of hype.
Oh yeah, and I would say he's kind of proven that hype right there, picking up those frags for his team, and Square One now have absolutely flipped the tables on Gladiators Legion. While the support ultimates will be coming online soon for the Legion, Square One can easily preempt them, patch them up in these small hallways, just as Legion did to them before they can even get to point.
It's going to be hard for Gladiators Legion to use these ultimates in an offensive fashion based on what Square One has. They're going to have to use them defensively, as Rolf forced to use the Transcendence, but not enough to save water. Square One not really investing a ton into that fight either. This is going to be another good 15% for them on this objective. For Gladiators Legion to come back, they're still going to be at a disadvantage.
Oh, that's a big one though. What a shatter! 4 down here. Angelic forced to use that sound barrier.
And so that's the key word there, is forced. So Stand One's going to get that Earth Shatter a little bit sooner than the sound barrier, but Angelic, now they know, they have that information. The sound barrier is not there. He had to use it. Every 4 members of Square One were on the ground.
Yeah, Stand One literally yanked the words out of my mouth. I was about to say what you don't want is for one of your support players to be forced to use their ultimates out of system. They want to save it for when their team is truly in danger, and that's now that Gladiators Legion are pressuring them back onto the point.
Rally coming in from the Square One, going to give them a little bit extra health there. The Graviton Surge also came through, and it's looking like Gladiators Legion and Square One are all still pretty healthy, but Angelic going to get that first blood onto Water, who dies with Rally, but the self-destruct is going to even things up. Jolt, though, taken very low. This is probably going to be Gladiators Legion last opportunity to come in onto the point, as Square One has gotten 80%. They're doing just that. Dalton with 2 kills. Gladiators Legion primed to take this point in the nick of time.
A lot of times it's just about knowing when you can push your advantage. Dalton smelled blood in the water. He chased down the last straggling members of Square One, bullied them off of the point, and now this means that we're seeing an incredibly even Busan round 1 to start off this series. These 2 teams very evenly matched. Not so, though, in terms of ultimate economy. Gladiators Legion holding all the cards.
Yeah, the timing of this works so well for Gladiators Legion. They're in one-fight territory, and they have the ultimate advantage, going ahead and using the Transcendence in an offensive form because they have tracked it out. Square One, though, going to fall. No support ultimates coming on the other side. Overtime does start, but it would be a massive misplay from Gladiators Legion if they lose this round, and the overtime wick will end 100-90 though. Gladiators Legion do take it, but it wasn't a sure thing.
No, absolutely not. Square One kept things interesting the entire time around, and as we just saw last series between Sky Foxes and Bermuda, it's not just about how you start the round, or for any Game of Thrones fans out there, but how you end the round. So Gladiators Legion able to pull things out when they most needed it to secure that round. Now they just need to do it once more, and they will secure their very first map win. Square One, though, they themselves playing very well. Tri-Spear certainly showing up big for the team. It's going to be about finding a little bit more of that consistency when they're down ultimates.
And so Gladiators Legion already up 1-0 in terms of rounds here on Busan. The first round was pretty close, so we can expect this one to be the same. Tri-Spear had a couple opportunities to frag out, but in the end, I think the team play of Gladiators Legion did overcome Square One in at the end, as well as some really good ultimate economy usage, as they're going to find each other in this drum circle. Stand one, going to be that guy, stand behind me, use that shield, as you're going to assert a little bit of aggressiveness onto the rest of the team, and Square One all on the back foot right now, as I'm going to be up to Angelic, and that amp it up to try to take a little bit more space from Gladiators Legion if he's able to use it for speed, because if you're using it for heals, you're gonna probably lose that fight. And Square One already on the back foot, like we said, 6-5 now for Gladiators Legion. Someone's gonna go ahead and use that Earth Shatter. He developed it so quickly, why not use it right now? And we do have a D-Mac and kill onto Hot Date. This is Gladiators Legion's point.
Yeah, and a big advantage in terms of ultimate generation as well. Whoever wins that first fight, especially on as brawly of a map as Control, where everything else literally is equal, even these heroes, you need to try and find those tiny little bits of opportunity. Dalton now 70% up to, or excuse me, in just the blink of an eye, 80% up to that grab, though Dove has caught up here. The difference between who pops that grab first and who decides to invest this trance will make or break these teams' next fight.
Angelic very close to that sound barrier because he's had to do so much healing for his team. They've taken a ton of damage. So now we're seeing those ultimates come through. The Transcendence for Tri-Spear is very early. They're predicting that Graviton Surge. Emil, though, going to get 2.5 kills on that self-destruct. You know, we said he was replacing Kyushu. Those are clown shoes, but I think his feet and toes are growing into those shoes just fine.
Every second, a new centimeter added to those feet. A really nice boop from Luddy as well to set up that bomb. These are kind of, you know, Lucio shenanigans we haven't tasted since last season on Numbani, where Elk very famously got that amazing boop assist for Fusion University. Gladiators Legion very comfortable right now in terms of point percentage, but Square One have slowly been accumulating those ultimates. Dove now has an opportunity to lay in that grab, but what's the follow-up going to be?
The Earth Shatter doesn't really get much other than Rolf to use the sound barrier to start things off. The Graviton Surge is there. Rolf's going to use the end of the sound barrier as timing to start that Transcendence, so they're going to mostly survive, but not from the self-destruct. 5v4 now for Square One. Gladiators Legion have gotten themselves to 83%, so they're probably okay with losing this outright, because all they need to do is get up to some more of those ultimates and then come in and try to win one more fight for the round.
Exactly. Square One are the ones who have to now climb uphill. They cannot lose a single fight from this point on. But I just love the way that the Square One tanks use these off angles. Hot Date caught Water, who, you know, of all people should be invulnerable to the self-destructs, but he used that off angle, caught him on his back. Dolph too, getting a great pin kill onto Gladiators Legion. And now everybody taking quite a bit of damage on this engage. Square One using Big All's rally to just, you know, make Gladiators Legion hesitate for a second.
Well, you know, a little less of hesitation, but more so, hey, you know, we're just going to wait for the rally to go, right? It's just kind of a stop in the name of rally, right? So Gladiators Legion do have ultimates to try to take this back. This is actually a pretty good opportunity for them. They're going to try to contest the point. The Dalton Graviton Surge comes out. Tri-Spear, they're going to use that Transcendence to counter. The Reinhardt is out of the way. There is no self-destruct, though, because Emil was on the ground after a great shatter from Dolph. The shatter coming the other way, though, going to make things interesting. Square One going to get taken off this map by Emil once more. That's the second time. 2.5 kills go down. It could have even been bigger if he wasn't Earth Shattered a little earlier. Gladiators Legion will be getting this point.
Oh, even though Hot Day was using those angles so well, Emil has reacted to those opportunities with perfection. I mean, square one's Ryan. Drolf gets charged all the way out of that grab, and what do the team do? They react. Everybody rushes to try and save their Reinhardt, who actually ends up getting shattered by Stand One, who is in a 3v1 right there. Just incredible shenanigans. And with that opportunity, Emil's like, everybody's back's turned. We're popping that self-destruct. And what do you know? Just manages to catch a couple.
Yeah, and Square One defending that pretty well, shattering the D.Va. So after the grab from Gladiators Legion goes through, there is no bigger bang combo to see. That is the self-destruct Graviton Surge combo. And the good thing for Square One in that moment in time was that Jolf got pinned, so there wouldn't be a shield for the rest of them from that self-destruct, but that Gladiators Legion did not care about that, particularly Stand One. So I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Stand One, Panker, what do you think right now?
Well, you're asking a bias caster. Not really. I have to say that Stand One seems like an amazing fit for this current Gladiators Legion team. He seems to be able to match their aggression, match their eagerness to go toe-to-toe, to go in and brawl goats v goats. And while Panker is a very skilled tank, I just feel playstyle-wise, he wasn't as good of a fit. Gladiators Legion, starting off this season very well with their main tank, who seems to not really need any kind of adjustment time.
Yeah, Stand One, just like Envy. At this point, he's just the everyman, right? You need a main tank, bring Stand One, because he performed at the Atlantic Showdown, helping North America get 2 finalists in that tournament, and now he's helping Gladiators Legion. And, I said it at the end of that round, kind of under my breath, but I really believe it. Legion look really good. Emil looks great, and we talked about it too before. Bishu, he had some of the best D.Va play Contenders had ever seen in that playoff run.
He was smurfing.
We all remember that, bomb on Hanamura. But Emil, he had a pretty good performance on Angry Titans in the showdown as well. And now he's gotten 2.5 kills a couple times on those self-destructs. He's definitely performing well as well.
One map, 6 kills. You can't ask for better results from your D.Va. And what a boop. Just such a good boop here, too. Everybody from Gladiators Legion, whether it's through flashiness, whether it's just quietly in the back line, throwing in boops here or there, everybody has been playing to an incredibly high level. And GOATS is one of those compositions where, the sum is greater than the parts. If you can get everybody, functioning as one.
Well, let's see if that's going to ring true on our next map, which should be Anubis. Square One, though, we've been talking a lot about Legion, so let's talk about Square One just a little bit more. I like Trisphere. I like that he, fragged out at the beginning, but it just seems like Gladiators Legion put bumpers around that team, right? They forced Square One to play Legion's game, and I think that's a big reason why Legion, 1, looked so good, because they were playing a game that was comfortable to them, and 2, the reason why Square One, even though they had some good plays, Jolf trying his best to be that Reinhardt that we know he can be, just could not get it started. It's like they're stuck at the lawnmower that just would not crank.
Could not nudge that gear shift out of neutral. And Square One, just like you said, Boop, Gladiators Legion are a very experienced team, so every time an opportunity presents themselves, there's no hesitation in taking that opportunity. Square One, you can tell that they were forced to kind of think on their feet, see if they can make a play where maybe there wasn't a play necessarily, just to try and keep pace with Gladiators Legion. And as we face off here on Anubis, it will be a bit more Ghost shenanigans, but Tri-Spear on the Ana, who has become more and more popular in the Mirror Goats matchup. Very good at shutting down the Transcendence from Rolf. You also have the potential for Sleep to open up fights.
Ooh, nice charge coming in from Jolf, but that put him in an interesting position, and things have kind of devolved to a skirmish, and Angelic and Hot Day going to get a couple kills. Square One starting off very, very strong on their defensive side.
For Water, the first one to fall here. If anybody on Gladiators Legion has struggled a bit more than the rest, it would be Water. Again, a player coming out from Korean Open Division all the way back in the day with great hype, but having a hard time, finding his footing on the Brigida rather than the usual projectile DPS heroes he prefers to play. Got booped just in the wrong place at the wrong time and taken down first. So Gladiators Legion got to take another swing at this point. Square One, though, in the meantime, have been banking up these ultimates. Look at this. Bomb nearly ready. Nano certainly going to be ready within the duration of the next fight.
So some of Legion's old habits kind of showing up right now. They've had a habit of just spending so much time trying to find the right rotation that there's no actual engage ever. So they've forced the Square One hopefully to try to do it themselves, but that hasn't happened. Square One being very patient here as Jolt's going to get a nice shatter onto Emil and a roll for on the ground. The purple only on to water. Transcendence has come out. There's going to be no Transcendence on the other side to worry about, but there is going to be a grab coming on the other side. Dalton, though, going to get a 6v5 for Gladiators Legion. The sleep gets canceled. That's actually bad news for them because what came right after? An Earth Shatter that caught both supports.
3 Earth Shatter for Stand One, who absolutely swung for the hills there. Jolt, again, trying to be that playmaking Ryan, gets that charge through, but unfortunately misses the wall and charges straight into the Gladiators Legion death ball, whereupon they naturally fall on him, leading to that free shatter. However, that fight was over so quickly, Square One had no chance really to use that grab, to use that rally, so both will be available to try and hold Legion back.
And so Square One trying to scout out where Gladiators Legion are going to be coming through. They're going to choose the main way. Rally going to go as well as Dove's Graviton Search. This is a good opportunity, but Jolt going to reposition himself out of the fight. They do not have a Reinhardt right now, Square One, so they have to use that down there. You're seeing Jolt did not get any of those shields. He's going to go ahead and Shatter Knock a bunch of people onto the ground. Gladiators Legion are going to be taken down. Jolt, took himself out of the fight, but man, he walked back in like he was the boss.
Oh man, talk about making lemonade out of lemons. Comes back in on that off angle, catches all of Legion unawares, who are going to be kicking themselves for throwing so many ultimates into what they thought was going to be a one fight for sure. Luckily though, we still have Earth Shatter and Transcendence online for the Legion. Same trance available for Square One. Now the only question is, Hot Day gonna try and use this bomb preemptively. Not gonna need to though.
A combination of support, long distance damage. Remember in Goats, the only ones with long distance damage, mostly Zenyatta and the Lucio. If you're just feeling the power of music running through your veins, that time around, that's exactly what happened. Angelic also gonna get a D-Neck. That's gonna pause things a little longer for Gladiators Legion. But one thing I wanted to say about Legion is they have arguably been one of the least consistent teams in Contenders for all of the seasons that they've been in there, going from, last season getting second place in the playoffs and, their first season through, the third season, not getting anything higher than fifth. So this is the team, I think, I'm seeing it right now, that I think can find that consistency.
Oh, but not going to come in this fight. Bomb from Hot Day preemptively does catch Bolt right out. And I love this style from Square One. A lot of times we see the defenders kind of, just sitting back on their heels. They don't need to. Oh, this is just cruel at this point. This is just, Emil, just put him out of his misery. They finally do. But Square One, they're not taking that sit on your heels kind of playbook. They don't need to push out and defend aggressively, but they are. This is what won Bermuda so many good defensive fights on Anubis, just by playing this very proactive style of defense. Legion, they're so obvious, they're so vulnerable when they make their engagements. It'd be a shame if Square One didn't take these opportunities.
Yeah, they're getting poked down. As you already see, Water already at half health. Rolf needing to use the Transcendence after the Graviton Search goes through. Jolf, though, not going to be able to finish off that Earth Shatter because Sandalone going to get that charge. That Earth Shatter is when that Reinhardt is most vulnerable right before the animation lands. Gladiators Legion proving that to AT as Jolf forced to switch over to the ball to try to get back onto the point. And then we got some brig on brig action over there. Laying on the ground. Gladiators Legion still have an ultimate advantage. They've got that Graviton Surge, and there is no Transcendence on the other side. No one is on the point for Square One. That's quite unfortunate. Gladiators Legion do cap both with a nice time bank as well.
Just when I was praising Square One for
Nice-ish.
doing
I take it back.
so
Nice-ish.
well. Every time you charge as a Reinhardt, and I certainly am guilty, 9 out of 10 times. But you
Or
have
10 out
to
of 10.
10, yeah, or 10 out of 10. You have to realize, you have to not just be thinking about, hey, if I land this pin, what's going to happen? But if I miss this pin, what's going to happen? A really beautiful grab coming in from Dove to catch all of Legion in that tiny room. It should have been easy, wait for that Transcendence to go down, just go to town. It's going to be very hard for Legion to escape, but Jolf getting a little greedy for that charge kill, ends up putting himself right in the enemy's territory. He goes down first, and then it is just no stopping that snowball.
Against another team, that might have worked.
Yes.
But this Gladiators Legion team has seriously been impressing me so far. There are things that, kind of bothered me from last season, the previous seasons. Then, you gotta fix this lack of consistency, right? But I think with Emil on the team, he's been very consistent, kind of reminding me of Elivote on Envy, just someone that you can trust to do their job. And I think Stand One has really put a ton of energy and, one of my favorite words, moxie, into that team. They're playing so much. I think that's it. I think they're playing so much more confidently than what we're used to. And I think Bishu was actually a big reason why they were like, hey, we can do this. We can win this thing. And I'm so happy to see that carried over into this season.
Absolutely. Legion are bursting with confidence right now. Stand One now on the Winston with Rolf on the Ana. What an anti-date. That is nearly 20% to the Nano right away, right out of the gates. And again, against a team like Square One who don't count them out, you got to take those opportunities, and Legion are doing so right now. Square One themselves going to swap to that Reinhardt Goats composition. Just got to make sure to keep all of your tanks in line. No funny shenanigans off in a different zip code now.
That grenade, not as good. He's going to be at about 50% though. So when you get the Nano that early, this first attack from Square One could just be rebuffed by Stand One and an extra beefy monkey. And Gladiators Legion really trying to stall out this fight until that can happen. Square One did have that initial switch. They're lagging behind, but really looking at Dove and Dalton, they're both pretty low in terms of Graviton Surge, which makes this Nano and Stand One that much more terrifying.
Oh boy, Emil getting caught in a corner right there, manages to escape. Who's Rolf going to heal? Both of his tanks getting taken pretty low. Stand One needs to stay alive until he gets this Primal online. Nano boost nearly here.
And so because Emil is so low right now, it means that they're going to have to wait a little while longer, and the Nano is going to happen. There is no defensive ultimates for Square One to deal with this Nano-boosted monkey, but they are still going to get the kills. Hey, we might not be able to kill the monkey, but we can kill other people as well. Rolf and Water going to be taken down, but Dalton, though, going to get a couple more kills. Emil was on the ground, but it's going to be Square One losing out on this attack happening because of that Nano monkey.
Sometimes the ferocious fisticuffs just catch you unawares. Joel found himself in a really disadvantageous 1v1 versus Stand One. He tries to shatter the monkey before he can primal and just barely misses. And so Square One back to the drawing board.
And so Dalton now has the Graviton Surge. The Rally's going to help. The Self-Destruct's going to help Legion as well. Looking at Square One, let's look at those check marks. Big Ol and Tri-Spear. Angelic, though, means that they're going to have nice defensive ultimates. So if they're able to survive the initial offensive push from this defense, if Gladiators Legion want to be proactive, or they can force Square One to come into them. But if they do that, it'll give Square One a little bit more time to grab those ultimates. So they are going to go ahead and try to engage just a little bit early. Is Dalton going to use that Graviton Surge, forcing the Rally coming out of Big Ol? They aren't going to get any kills because of it, but Square One is running out of time, and they need to try to grab this point. Hot Date going to get that first kill. Emil not going to find anyone with that Self-Destruct. That's going to prove to potentially be the death of Gladiators Legion here on point A, but they've taken a ton of time off the clock, and they're still stalling.
Oh, still stalling, absolutely, and nobody panicking here right now. Rolf does go down, saves the Nano boost for the later fight. Gladiators Legion know that they have a lot of cushion, a lot of time to play with, so not going to get too over-eager as of yet. Stand One, interestingly, choosing to stay on this Winston. A lot of times you want to go for that Reinhardt for point B so that Jolf doesn't get a free one.
Oh, Stand One choosing to stay on that Winston, and he chooses to get first blood on this fight as well. He's going to take Zenyatta out of this game. Primal Rage is just such a good ultimate, and I think it pairs so well with Ana just in general. Now that Ana has used that Nano, let's see if they're still going to keep to this combat. It looks like they will.
You don't choose the monkey chooses you. Primal, you don't want to give up the Primal, so not bad. Poor Joel taking a nap right there. Hopefully he'll be able to cool off a little bit, calculate how he's going to use this Earth Shatter in the upcoming fight, because Square One have some great tools now. It's just going to be all about where and when they choose to use them. Hopefully they're counting ultimates. They'll know that Rolf doesn't have that Transcendence online, so unless Emil's going to pull some gods-like shenanigans and gobble up that grab, they're probably going to be able to land it.
If he does eat this grab, however, Square One aren't going to have as many tools at their disposal to try to grab this point. Oh, a couple people are going to get shattered onto the ground. Water going to be dying early on. It's 65, so Stand One really needing to use this Primal Rage and needing to find value out of it just to make sure Water gets back onto the field, and they're going to solo grab the Primal Raging Winston. That's a great move from them, and everyone was ready for it, so the communication was there as well. The Graviton Surge coming in from Gladiators Legion doing nothing but stall out the point a little while longer. Stand One has respawned, but Dalton's going to trade out for his life as well. This rally needs to, again, find that value. It is still bugged, so there is going to be a little extra beat coming in from the members of this team, and the self-destruct coming in from Hot Date is going to find itself on the high ground and find itself a Lucio. Square One might actually finish this out with more time. The Gladiators Legion, they have to finish out and clean up the kills, however.
Dove coming in close to that grab, though, and especially with Emil Dimnek, this should be a one fight for Square One. You just need a precious few more seconds. Gladiators Legion desperately now. Dalton's no longer even on the field with that Doomfist. Tri-Spear tossing out those orbs like his life depended upon it, deciding to 1v1 the Brigida of all things. And that will be Square One finishing out the match.
Man, they are bullying Water right now. Water died first, I think, in 3 of those fights near the end. So Square One finishing with more time. The Gladiators Legion is not a ton of time. It's just one fight, though. One fight could be the difference between a won and lost map. So this is going to continue to be a close fight between both of these teams. Gladiators Legion, though, will get the attack on the extra rounds first.
Stand One. I appreciate that he wanted to, hang on to that Primal Rage. He's a very, very capable Winston, but unfortunately, in this matchup specifically against a Reinhardt like Jolf, who has shattered nearly every fight, it's a hard thing to rely on a bubble to try and save your team. The other consideration is when Dalton does catch Square One in a grab, Winston's Tickle Cannon is not going to do nearly as much damage as a Reinhardt Hammer would. I mean, the reason that these Reinhardts are able to generate, Earth Shatter so quickly a lot of the times is they just swing through the entire 6 bodies caught in that grab. They hit all 6 at once, and that generates an incredible amount of ultimate charge. Legion kind of gave up that option by running the Winston instead. But never say die. They still have more rounds to go, but they got to consider these kinds of things. Square One is shaping up to be quite the opponent.
Well, the thing about the Winston choice, too, is I think you nailed it. It could be summarized into they just lacked damage, right? So even if that Graviton Surge, it did lock up almost everyone on the team, the damage wasn't quite there to follow up. And just that little bit more you get from Reinhardt could be the difference between someone living and someone dying. And so Square One going to start off on this defensive side. Gladiators Legion's doing that very, very common flanking path to Mega Pack through and see if they can break through this choke point here. The ally barrier has already been used. They're probably going to wait for that cooldown before they try again.
Yep, and Tri-Spear once more reprising his role on our favorite Egyptian Grandma, 35% up to that nano boost. Ooh, Jolf getting stunned up, manages to get that armor pack. Everybody's still safe for now, but only 7 or so HP. Gladiators even have now bullied their way onto the point.
Luddy got into the back line, moved some people around, and Square One couldn't recover from the disruption that he was causing with that Lucio. It's not about ult charge to see who's doing well, because you're not going to get a ton if you're booping and bopping if you're Lucio, unless you get an environmental kill. But that goes to show how one move, like displacement, can affect an entire fight like it just did for Legion.
This is such a close matchup already between these two teams. These fights live and die on that knife's edge. Square One gonna hope that this nano boost will help them rebuff Gladiators Legion, who are charging in here again with that renewed confidence behind their main tank, who has that Earth Shatter ready. Luddy just being so annoying right now on that high ground. Hot Day cannot find a safe perch.
Oh, and Hot Date couldn't find that perch, so he's going to find it behind the rest of his team. The Graviton Surge was not eaten, and so now Dalton and the rest of his team have an opening to punish them because there's no Transcendence for Square One. Tri-Spear was still on that Ana, and unfortunately for Square One, Angelic couldn't get up to the sound barrier, which is like the next thing on the docket. And round 3 will be complete with Gladiators Legion with 4 points. Luddy, though. Luddy on that initial boop on the high ground there on Shetland. Back in the day when Orisa was on this map every single time, there was High Horse, which is where May would beat the wall to get up there, then Shetland, which is where they were standing, and Gladiators Legion and Luddy just being annoying. Super annoying.
Super annoying, and Legion were able to press their pace. Square One were obviously not expecting such an aggressive push. They were expecting more of that old Legion look, just kind of whiling their way, looking around, poking, maybe breaking some
Reminds me
shields.
of like a colonial dance, right? Like in movies where everyone's doing like the same
and
thing.
Everybody, you have
and then
to
you
stay
change
3
partners.
feet apart, and you only touch like fingertips,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
yeah, so that's not this Gladiators Legion team any longer, going in so decisively.
I love it, man.
I mean, drop the grab immediately, drop the Earthshatter. It seems like, textbook GOATs play, but Square One thought they had way more time to prepare their defenses than they did.
Yeah, Lucio's need to, be feeling it in order to pull that off, because we've seen that fail, and then Lucio just gets picked off because you're the only one behind the team, and there's really not a great escape path, coming back into the team.
Vulnerable.
So if the Lucio falls, so probably do the rest of Gladiators Legion, because when you're going for that displacement, if it works, you win the point. If it doesn't, you lose 45 seconds.
Exactly. High risk, high reward, and that was a high sailing anti-nade coming in from Rolf. Yeah, Gladiators Legion going to be feeling pretty good right here. Square One going to take a different route of engagement this time.
And we're going to see some aggressiveness here coming in from both teams. They meet each other. They're like, wait. We're going to wait a little while longer. We'll respect the dance. It's still colonial time someplace. And so Gladiators Legion now looking at stand 1 and that Primal Rage already over 50%. That shield dash was super strong, and they are going to be able to keep stand 1 alive. I believe he's all down to 30 HP at 1 at point, but this means that Square One are going to find a little bit of room on the objective and force Gladiators Legion to come into the point.
Yeah, that's a tick already gone for Gladiators Legion. The debate from Square One totally working out this time around. Tri-Spirit getting stunned up here, not able to heal up. Hot Day, Big All Dub, all very low right now. Gladiators Legion still dancing around. They have yet to really find a pick. This Nano, though, could help.
No, and it's going to go on to water, so they're going to get some good Inspire healing from this, but maybe the Monkey could have been a better choice, but the Primal Rage was there. You don't really want to Nano that Primal Raging Winston all that often, so finally they have been able to take this fight back into their side of the equation, but now they're going to have to respond to a couple ultimates. Dub trying to get to that Graviton Surge. Just a minute and 50 seconds left, and Big All is able to get that pick. The Transcendence is coming out from it. Tri-Spirit to keep everyone alive, but they did layer the support ultimates on top of each other, so the value could have been a little bit better. As Dalton using that Graviton Surge, they're really trying to keep him onto this point. They don't want to give this to point B. Gladiators Legion, though, is losing Emil in the mech. Maybe he's actually going to get back in. Emil is going to get back in. No, he is not. Oh, no, that is so unfortunate. It probably wouldn't have mattered in at the end. Ults upon ults in that fight. Speaking of ults upon ults, Square One can definitely walk into this point and snowball.
Oh my goodness! I thought it was a death knell when Square One layered both support ultimates. That would have been a complete grab for Dalton, but Legion find no kills, and now they might just be giving up all of Anuda's. Stand One sticking with his Winston. He's very close to Primal. Pops it immediately.
And he's also gonna try to get some people out of the way. Hot Date, though, gonna get 2 kills. One is a roll through, so close to that Nano, and I think that Nano was almost required to keep them from capturing this point. You're seeing why they tried so hard at point A, because they probably understood that if they didn't, they'd be at a disadvantage here on at point B, but the focus is going on to Emil, and they forgot about stand 1 there for just a second. This is still not over for Gladiators Legion. These spawns are definitely coming to the advantage for them. Rolf was able to get the Nano onto the Monkey, but the Monkey not doing any damage whatsoever. But this stall has actually been quite good for Gladiators Legion. This is the difference between attacking first on this next point. Now Square One already down to under a minute.
Dalton dead, though. That's going to be a lot of damage gone for Gladiators Legion. Rolf now on the Desperation Tracer, just trying to keep things alive. But at this point, Tri-Spear, who was cut down in the prime of his life, will be returning with that Transcendence. Might not even need it as he headshots Slutty right out of the playing field.
Stand One getting another Primal Rage. At this point, Gladiators Legion are trying their best to get this into overtime, and that's going to mean that Square One does not get another attack. They are able to clear the point. Square One, the focus fire wasn't quite there whenever a stall lasts that long. I think that's more on the attacking team not being able to clean it up, and some of Gladiators Legion, especially when you get 3 Primal Rages during that fight, that's definitely going to help you stall out. But again, they have a minute on the clock. They're so close, though. 35 seconds to forcing overtime. Gladiators Legion to feel good about that stall. They're going to be able to attack second as well, which I believe is a pretty good advantage when it comes to these extra innings on Assault.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can attack second, you don't have that, question of the unknown, right? You know exactly how far you need to push. You can see that finish line. So Square One, they're going to have to, just aim for the hills. Can get 1 point, that's great. You get 2 points, even better. There's no saying how much they need to accomplish in order to win this map out against Legion and tie things up. That Winston pick from stand one, choosing to stay on the Winston even in overtime, ended up actually working out pretty well for Legion for exactly the reason that you said, Boop. He has so much mobility. He's so squirrely and hard to pin down that it bought Legion a lot more time than they might have had if they had decided to swap to the Reinhardt. So, it's all about that give and take.
So Gladiators Legion are going to be on the defense this first time with a 56-second advantage. Square one, the way that this works, you only get one shot pretty much to get onto this point, and that's lacking those ultimates. If they get picked off, then it will be over for them. And I like the comp that they're running as well. The quad DPS, 1, 2, 3, triple DPS is going to be able to, potentially get some picks really early on and open up the point.
Tri-Spear could count as, a DPS, 18% already, but I really like the choice to run Rolf on Zenyatta for that potential point B defense rather than the Ana.
Oh, and the Pharah going to get nice value out of some of these rockets and some good value coming in for Square One, but no supports are left for Square One. This means everyone else is just easy pickings. This is going to be all up to the DPS for Square One to stay alive so their supports can come back. Gladiators Legion not really punishing them for this right now.
Big All just trying to stay alive right there, threatening, trying to demech Emil, who is now in his, Mega Pack hidey hole. Ooh, does get demeched, though. This is massive. Every projectile from Dove, from Big All, will now find pay dirt.
And so the Lucio, again, trying to boop away this Widowmaker, so keep focusing on the Lucio, but Square One are going to be capturing this point, and they know exactly what Gladiators Legion are going to be running for the second one because of those wall hacks. You are going to see the switch happen. They're going to reset those ultimates into this Somber Goats pattern because Hot Date is very, very close to that EMP. He's only 30% away, and that can happen in one clip.
Yeah, and Rolf earlier on the Moira thinking that maybe Legion could have held that point A, gonna have to give up all of that ultimate charge on Zen, swap onto the Ana, who again has some vulnerabilities. Big anti-nade in though, Square One need to find this EMP soon.
Yeah, Gladiators Legion having a hard time locking things up, but Square One might have a little bit of deja vu in this situation. It was so hard for them to actually lock up the second point as Tri-Spear gets an opening pick onto Luddy. EMP goes through as well. 3 members hack for Gladiators Legion. There are no ultimates for Square One to worry about right now, but they don't have any themselves, so this has just been a brawl for this last point. Dalton's going to get hacked, going to get CC'd, and he's going to die before using that Graviton Surge. Emil unable to find any value out of that mech as well.
Nice.
Square One still haven't locked this up just yet. They've got to clean it up.
They've got to clean this up. Rally coming in soon for Big All to try and draw things out. Give this tanks a little bit more time to find it, but Joel's taking a nap at the absolute worst point, but it's not gonna matter. Gladiators Legion do give this up.
Stand one was off of the point, trying to throw fisticuffs against someone who, arguably was most likely not the most important member to be isolating there, or he was like, all right, we're probably already done on this one. Let's go ahead and try to just get it on the next push. But we're at 10 total points right now. It's 6-4. I feel like this map has almost lasted longer than our entire series from our last match. But Gladiators Legion have 1 minute and 56 seconds. And, if them Square One had a minute, they were able to do it with my minute and 56. I should be able to do it too.
I'd still be feeling quite confident, especially because Gladiators Legion have some very capable DPS players on their side. You have Water, who, flashing the Genji for now in Spawn, one of his best heroes from back in the day. However, I'm doubting that this is going to be the case. Gladiators Legion probably not just going to be thinking about this point A, but they have to think about point B. So Goats is still one of the most consistent compositions that you can rely on. So going to be expecting some swaps here. Square One, though, going to go for the Ana. Now, Tri-Spear has found some juicy sleeps so far in this match, but this is still a really big risk, especially when Legion need to finish point B, so you have to be thinking about a potential point B fight. This means no Transcendence or potentially very late Transcendence if Square One decide to swap the Ana after point A is given up.
But we also saw how important that Nano can be when you're defending on this point from Gladiators Legion. When Stanwin was on that Winston, he was able to rebuff a push pretty much because of that combination of a Nano and a Primal Rage. The Winston just stays alive for so long. Tri-Spear is in his little pocket, so he can be safe. There's not really long distance damage that can take Tri-Spear out of this match unless Rolf gets a nice volley right into that dome. And that's probably not going to be where he's focusing his time, as he's probably going to be trying to shield break the rest of his team and also focus on that healing and that Discord. Or a good Fire Strike, though, coming in from stand one, ripping apart a lot of Square One, and now it's going to be up to Trispear to really spread out that healing appropriately, because Angelic's going to have to use that speed to get him back to the point. Square One definitely on the back foot right now. Gladiators Legion getting close to that Earthshatter. Jolt, though, is going to be a little bit closer. This is definitely a race to see who can find the most value out of their ultimate. Stand one can definitely release it right now. He's waiting for that shield game to happen. Jolt has that Earthshatter too. Earthshatter goes down for stand one. Big All is going to get taken out, but so is Rolf. Square One now coming out on top in terms of numbers. Gladiators Legion unable to take it on their first push, but they have that extra 56 seconds, and that's coming in handy right now with 46 seconds left.
Both Zarias neck and neck in terms of grab charge. And remember, Legion, they have the safety net of Rolf's trance. Square One, no such thing. So if stand one gets that Earthshatter, draws Sound Barrier out of Angelic first, Square One are going to be standing there with their pants pulled down. Nothing to defend against Dalton's eventual grab. They got to keep this in mind.
They got that Sound Barrier there, and that's definitely going to be what he's going to be waiting for. The grenade only hitting Emil, and they're not even focusing that damage onto him. The rally from Water has been blocked. Trispear is going to get taken down, but stand one is going to be doing the same. This is a 5v5. One less support, one less take for Gladiators Legion. A kill for Emil, though, is going to keep things in line for Gladiators Legion. The Graviton Surge does come through. Dubb's going to use his as well. It's still an even fight. Sound Barrier now coming online for Gladiators Legion. Is Emil going to take Jolf out of this fight as well? Square One running back from spawn. Gladiators Legion are looking like they're going to capture this point. They will get 30 seconds to try to get beat, but they don't have what Square One had when they tried to snowball into this point to get their 6. Gladiators Legion are going to have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Some good old vanilla W. Mouse One. Square One needed through everything that they had to try and defend point A, but the good news is Legion threw everything they had at the problem as well. Some really well-placed self-destruct from Hot Day to try and zone away from that grab. Just unlucky that Emil had a bit of a better one.
Water! Oh, Water feeling super dehydrated after the push. Oh no, you saw them focus it down. This has been a mistake that's been made over and over again for Gladiators Legion. They can't keep that brig alive, and they're coming in with 4 seconds left. Are they even going to be able to touch the point? If they are, it's just desperation mode. Overtime has started. The Graviton Surge is not going to get followed up because no one is alive. Square One, after a marathon Anubis map, will be tying the series up 1-1. We were talking so much about Legion, how good they looked and how confident they were, but really Square One here pulling it out in at the end, looking like, especially after those last 2 pushes on those 2 extra rounds, the one's in control.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was like a triple C thick defense from Square One. You know, it's not just, you know, hey, we had this strat prepared and this is what we're going to run, but it was thinking on the fly. Again, trying to, you know, squeeze some juice out of those lemony opportunities that presented themselves and, you know, coming out on top. Totally unexpected that Legion were the ones, you know, who ended up looking like they were a bit lost in terms of how they were going to win this fight out. You saw, you know, hey, Earthshatter didn't work. We're going to grab right after this. And after the grab, we'll throw the bomb out there. Maybe we'll find some kind of kill. But I'm just so excited. This is really shaping up to be quite the match.
Yeah, once the clutch ability needed to happen, Water would die. And that whenever you're walking into those intense moments, 6v5, your morale is going to get depleted too. We've seen teams come back from 2-man disadvantages before, like even just on that revival game, Vanishing getting a ton of self-destruct kills to even up fights, but that just wasn't happening for Gladiators Legion this time around. This is a close one. It is 1-1 between Square One and Gladiators Legion. We have entered halftime. I'm sure both of these teams need a break after that 6-5 on Anubis, and we're going to need one too. We'll see you soon.